Salutations, my brothers and sisters, and this is Bleach chapter number 592 entitled Marching Out the Zombies 3. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So basically the chapter starts off where you just see everybody in that first panel looking directly up into the sky at a completely zombified Toshiro Hitsugaya. And the only two people who were absolutely flabbergasted at this whole ordeal was none other than Ikaku and Yumachiko. And then that's when it jumps over to Ikaku, who was just basically talking to Yumachika, saying that he was aware at the fact that Toshiro Hitsugaya's Ryatsu was pretty low. He just really knew about the fact that he was in a zombified form, that he had actually died. And then that's when it jumps over to Toshiro, who basically stands in a fighting stance by placing his Zanbakuto horizontally, like he's about to charge at them or anybody else who might get in his way. And that's when Yumachika sees what he's doing, and that's when he decides to execute a Kido technique. And right before he could do so, that's when Ikaku tells him that it's pointless to even do this against someone who's so damn powerful, basically. And that's when Ikaku decides to take Hazuki Maru and just hits Yumachika across the stomach and try to push him to a safer location. Well, both of them are trying to get to a safer location away from what he's trying to do, basically. And that's when Toshiro Hitsugaya takes his Zanpakuto and just unleashes a giant, a giant wave of ice towards those two. And that's when it jumps over to Yumachika, who was just pissed off at the fact that Ikaku even do that, and he was just telling him how reckless he was. And that's when he looks over at Ikaku, seeing how badly injured he was, and that his right foot was frozen. And of course, he was hit by that wave of ice. And that's when Ikaku really didn't worry about it, because he knew how powerful Toshiro Hitsugaya is, and that he knew that his foot really wasn't much of a concern, because he knew that during fights like that he were to come about such injuries like that, so it really didn't affect him too much. And then that's where it shows Toshiro Hitsugaya taking his Zanpakuto and just stabbing Ikaku in the back with his own blade, with his blade piercing right through his left pectoral muscle. And Yumachika was just shocked at the fact that this had actually happened. And Toshiro just takes out his blade and just slashes it to the side. And you can just see the blood just spraying out to the side a bit. And that's when Yumachika got pissed off as what just happened before his eyes, and managed to charge towards Toshiro Hitsugaya and decides to fight him. And he was just talking to him, saying how pissed off he was as to what he just did to Ikaku. And that's what prompted Yumachika to want to release his Shikai. But right before he even do so, that's when Toshiro Hitsugaya decides to take his knee and plant it directly into Yumachika's stomach. And then that's when he decides to grab Yumachika by his head and just headbutts him. And that's when Toshiro Hitsugaya jumps back and he takes his own Zanpakuto and just slashes Yumachika, right down the middle. And you just see blood spraying, and Yumachika was just shocked that this had even happened. And that's when it jumps over to Mayuri Katasuchi, who basically, was just mesmerized at the fact that Toshiro was even, moving about like this. And that's when he came to the conclusion, knowing that Toshiro was transformed into a zombie before he had died. And that's when Gigi appears out of nowhere and corrects Mayuri Katasuchi for even coming up with this whole hypothesis about how Toshiro was able to move about like this. And that's when she goes on to explain to Mayuri, saying that it's a lot more better to convert Shinigami into zombies before they die, because their cells are a lot more conditioned as opposed to them being converted into zombies when they're already dead. And that's when Mayuri Katasuchi basically I think he was a bit surprised at the fact that she did that. And that's where he goes on to tell her that he says that what's the whole fun of actually controlling someone who has no conscious thoughts whatsoever. And then that's when Gigi basically says that she's no sadist, and that she really has no direct answer towards his response, basically. And of course, that's when it jumps over to Charlotte Coolhorn, who jumps directly right in front of Toshiro Hitsugaya, who thinks that he can actually take him on. And he actually went to go charge towards him, thinking that he could actually land a punch or some sort of attack, thinking that it could have some effect upon Toshiro. And that's when Mayuri was trying to tell Charlotte Coolhorn that he's trying to say stop, fool, don't do it. And of course, him being so stupid, Toshiro Hitsugaya decides to take his blade and just slashes Charlotte Coolhorn diagonally. And he was just surprised that this even happened. He just collapsed to his knees. And that was when Toshiro Hitsugaya was going to go for another blow, and basically he was going to go finish Charlotte Coolhorn off. But luckily, Mayuri Kuratsuchi was able to put up a defense barrier between Charlotte Coolhorn and Toshiro Hitsugaya himself, and that's when Mayuri got pissed off at the fact that that Charlotte Coolhorn would even want to go and do something so reckless that it was just so stupid. Basically it was just suicide for him to even want to go attack Toshiro Hitsugaya like that. And of course, he told him that as for his punishment, that he was just gonna lie there on the ground and bleed out to death, bleed him dry. And that's when Charlotte Coolhorn was just mumbling underneath his breath, calling him a bastard. That he basically ended up in this situation like that he was at that point, just bleeding out and crap. But that was his own damn fault. He knew. He basically, I think he probably knew how powerful he was, but I guess he just wanted to prove to, I guess, Mayuri or himself that he had what it takes to take down Toshiro Hitsugaya, which was absolutely stupid. But anyways, but then that's when it jumps over to Mayuri Kuratsuchi, who's trying to talk to Toshiro Hitsugaya, saying, it's not, I think, appropriate for him, to cut down Mayuri Kuratsuchi's experiments. And he was waiting for Toshiro Hitsugaya to respond, but of course, knowing that he is a zombie, he wasn't really going to get any reply from him whatsoever. And that's when Mayuri Kuratsuchi said, you know what? He said it doesn't really matter anyway, that he wasn't going to speak to him. And that's when he goes on to say that he doesn't approve of Toshiro Hitsugaya's methods of I think he said something like wearing somebody else's like flesh or something like that. He was trying to put like a phrase of some sort, but he was just pissed off at the fact that this was even happening, and that he also was trying to tell him that that he would never get any type of consent from Gigi allowing her to transform him into a zombie. And that's when serious mode kicks in inside Mayuri Kuratsuchi's head, and you see over in the next panel that he is willing to test out some new drugs that he had created against Toshiro Hitsugaya, and he basically was just telling him that he really shouldn't worry, knowing that this situation is for the sake of a serite. And that's where the chapter ends basically. Alright, let's get into this discussion real quick. To be honest, there's not really much to say whatsoever because in this chapter I would say it really didn't have many like strong twists whatsoever. It just seemed like an ordinary chapter to me. You guys may think differently, but I just really think it wasn't like any major twists whatsoever, like at the end or like during the chapter whatsoever. But I mean, overall it was a pretty good chapter. I liked it. That we get to see a zombified Toshiro Hitsugaya in action. It was pretty awesome, obviously. And we get to see Charlotte Coolhorn's dumbass get cut down by Toshiro Hitsugaya. Obviously he teaches dumbass a lesson. I mean, it was obvious that you didn't see the other Aron card charge in towards Toshiro Hitsugaya, trying to give their lives away, trying to prove a point. They're not that stupid. Obviously, they stayed back, and they knew how powerful this guy was. But of course, Charlotte Coolhorn had to be stupid. And he even said before in the chapter that he was just allured by Toshiro Hitsugaya's his appearance. Like he basically said that he looked cute or beautiful. I'm like, well, and then again, I really shouldn't come as a shocker knowing that he's gay anyway. So knowing that Charlotte Coolhorn is gay. So, but anyways, yeah. So I was pretty glad at the fact that he got cut down. It serves him right basically for being such a dumbass. So that was the only part of the chapter in which I found pretty exciting. I know you guys find that exciting too, considering the fact that I'm not sure if anyone I may or may not know who absolutely loves Charlotte Coolhorn as a character. I don't. Of course you don't, like I said. So, I knew you guys were happy when you saw that. But, other than the the big point about Mayuri Kuratsuchi understanding that Toshiro Hitsugaya was transformed into a zombie before he died, those points, I was like, it was pretty interesting to know that that's what actually happened, instead of him actually dying and then getting turned into a zombie, because it explains, so much, obviously, as the way he was moving, things like that. So, it's pretty understandable. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So, yeah, that's pretty much like the main points. That's all I gotta say for now, guys. Leave your thoughts and concerns, of course, in the comments section down below. Tell me if I missed anything, or give me some predictions for next week's chapter and see what's gonna really happen. what kind of experiment drugs that Mayuri Kurotsuchi is talking about. Could it be something similar that he had used against Zalapado Grands back in the Arrancar arc a long time ago? That was a pretty effective drug. So who knows? Mayuri Kurotsuchi might use that drug, or he might use something even more stronger than that. So, I'm pretty anxious to see what he. Not anxious. I'm pretty much impatient to see what kind of drugs he got in store for Toshiro Hitsugaya. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, coming from the fact that we all know that Mayuri Kurotsuchi is crazy as hell, knowing that he's a mad scientist. So yeah, and that's all I gotta say for now, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's chapter as much as I did. Obviously, of course, some people may say, "Oh, it wasn't all that exciting," and all that. Of course, I had sorry, I'm babbling. I had the same thoughts too. But like I said before, I love waiting for each chapter to come out, because it's pretty exciting to know what's going to happen next. Either it's going to be a slow pickup or a fast pickup of events. I'm just ready to read the next chapter. I don't care what's going to be in store for me. I just want to read it and just have fun. So, yeah. Yeah, again, that's all I got to have to say for you guys. I just can't wait until next week. This is Romar492, guys, and I am signing out.